In this example, we have the square root of 2x squared minus 3, and we're asked to find the derivative of the square root of 2x squared minus 3. So this one's interesting because we have all of this underneath a square root. 2x squared minus 3, all underneath the square root. So if we want to rewrite this, we have f of x equals, and this would be 2x squared minus 3, all raised to the 1/2. The entire expression here, 2x squared minus 3, is underneath the square root, so this would all be raised to the 1/2. Just like if you had the square root of x, you could rewrite that as x to the 1/2. So same idea. We could change this to 2x squared minus 3 raised to the 1/2. Now that I rewrote it, it's a little bit easier to see, like, oh, I could just use chain rule because it's a composition of functions. So what I use for chain rule is I would have f prime of g of x times g prime of x, meaning we take the derivative of our f of x function. So if you want to think of this as x to the 1/2, this whole function is being raised to the 1/2. So what we want to do is we want to take the derivative of that. So it'd be 1/2 times 1, and then subtract 1, but then not write x. We'd want to write it as this g of x function that we have inside here. Let's go ahead and do that. Green. So I'm going to do 1/2 times 1. So I get 1/2. And then our g of x function, the function on the inside, we don't do anything with that just yet. We just leave it as 2x squared minus 3. And then I want to subtract 1 from the exponent, just using that power rule. So that's over 2, that's 2. 1 minus 2 is a negative 1/2. So 1 minus 2 is negative 1 over 2, so negative 1/2. Times the derivative of the inside now. So the derivative of the inside is going to be just taking the derivative of 2x squared, which is going to be 4x. And then 3 is a constant. We have a little bit of some cleaning up we need to do here. We have 4x times 1/2, which is just 4 divided by 2, which is 2. And then I'd like to write that x on the front there. And then this whole statement here, 2x squared minus 3, is being raised to the negative 1/2. So what we can do is we can throw that down to the bottom. So then this is 2x squared minus 3 raised to the 1/2. And if we wanted to be really cool, we could rewrite that as square root 2x squared minus 3. And there it is. Either answer is fine. Same thing, just this rewritten as a radical rather than a fraction exponent there. Same answer though. But this problem is really good because a lot of people would look at this and not really know where to go. But if you understand that this whole statement is being raised to the 1/2, then you can easily find the derivative, understanding that, okay, this whole thing is being raised to the 1/2, just use chain rule. Same thing is if it was cube root of 2x squared minus 3, or 4th root, or 5th root, anything. It would just be raised to that exponent. So this would be raised to the 1/3, chain rule, boom, game over.